Hello everybody, welcome to this Game Engine C++ video. In the last video we have set up several, oh wow, this is not the best start we could have. We have set up different components, a sprite component, a collision box component, some system, and all our game is running now, it's good. I would now like to add a new feature. I would like my entities to disappear when they go out of the screen on the right or on the left. And in order to do that, when I want to remove an entity, I also have to remove the components. And this will be the problem. This will be quite difficult. So, I mean quite difficult relatively to what we have done now. So in this first video, I would like to start a prototype of this entity removing feature. Okay, so let's open Paint. First, let's say we have this situation. In this situation, we have an entity with three components, one for the transform, one for the sprite, and one for the box. The indexes of the components are 0, 0, and 0. This is stored in the entity. If you remember an entity in our engine, where is it? Yeah, an entity in our engine has ID and a list of entities with a max component number. Actually, I could use something else here. Well. Okay, so we have, for each entity, we have three components. So let's say we have this situation with one entity with the three components, one entity with only two components, one transform and one box, so it's a trigger but no sprite, and a last entity with the three components. As you see, because the components are close in memory, you have an offset between the entities and components. They are not put at the same position. So actually, I could change this. So now the question is, if I delete an entity, if I want to remove this entity, I will have to change the positions of the component because it is a vector, I cannot keep this empty. Also, if I remove something from here, actually, so with the erase function, the std vector erase function, what C++ will do, what the compiler will do, is actually maybe recreating all vectors, so it's quite long. So the solution I would choose in order to do that is actually to swap elements. I mean, let's say here again I want to delete so this is only one component. Let's say this is transform. Sorry, transform, and this is also transform. I want to remove the red entity, so I will swap my transform component with the last component in my vector, and then I will remove the last. So this would work for one component, but what would happen for other components with another pattern of memory? Here I have another component here. I want to delete this one, so I will swap with the blue this time and delete it. So same function, but I will have to update the index of this component in my entity, of the green component, of the green entity in my component, and here I will have to update the blue entity component list in my entities. Okay, so let's do that. Also, a small disclaimer: in this video, I will create something that is how to say it, hard-coded. Okay, I will maybe think later about making it more generic, but for now, let's say it will be hard-coded. Okay, so I want to create a new function called remove entity. So void remove entity. U32 entity ID. And so let's create it. Okay. And we will start thinking for now just for the transform. So the transform will use, well, let's say the transform will be the first index, or how to say it. If I open my components, here you see that transform is considered the first element, and this is actually this is the order in my the range in my std array of component. Okay, so I will call this component type index. Okay, so component type index, so it is an int will be equal to static cast into an int of component indices transform. So now what I want to do is this swapping. Oh, not here. I want to do this swapping. So the first thing I have to do is to get my entity. Oh, I already have my entity, so I need to swap this with the last element. So in order to swap, I will use iterators and the std swap function. So let's start. First, I want the last element in my transforms. So last will be equal to transforms dot end -1, and I want to get the iterator to the transform of this entity. So to get it, I just need to get my entities. So auto to swap component or removed component, I could call it. It will be entities dot at entity ID dot component at the component type index. This will give me the index of the component I want to remove. And actually, I should check everything I will do afterward should be done only if this index, actually, no, it's not the removed component, the remove component index. Or could it just component index? I should do the rest of it only if it's not -1. Okay, so now component index is that, and iterator to the component I want to remove. So removed component will be equal to, oh, sorry, transforms dot begin plus component index. Okay. So now I swap them, std swap in the vector. Removed component and last. and now it is at the end. I can just get, sorry, get the last one and pop it. Okay. This will remove, swap and remove, but as I told you, I also have to update my entity. So in order to do that, I would, so here I have the last element. I need, and I also have my entity. So I need to update this with this ID. Okay, so what I will do is entities ID. Maybe I should get these entities. This entity. Yeah. Okay, so that I can use this now. Okay, and the point is I also want to, this one is about an entity. Yeah, that's fine. Actually, I should put this at the beginning. So now when I'm going to take the last element, the last component. It concerns a specific entity. So I need to get this entity and update it in order to put the so let's explain it here. For instance, let's say the entity I've taken, this one, I will put it here. So I will have to update this. So this one I will put it here. So I will have to update this to put a 0. So to put actually what is here. So in order to do that, so here I got the last one. I need to get the entity of this last one. I will modify it. So entities. I get entity dot components, and I will and I will modify the component, which type is it, and put instead of it component index. Okay, fine. So this would work for the transforms. And I'll do the same for the other one. So as I told you, I will just hard code it. And maybe later I will try to change that, maybe using some templates. In order to make this more generic, I would actually need how to say it? Yeah, a templated remove entity, not a templated remove entity, but a templated remove component function. And so for now, I don't have it. Okay, so in order to do that, maybe I'll do it. Maybe I will have time in this video actually to do that. So now let's do it for sprites. So same, yeah, I would change this. So it won't be, so I don't have to use this. Now it will be sprite. And the component index, so here this will be the same. I just don't need that. And this is quasi the same, I just have to put sprite instead of it. Sprite. This is the same. Sprites and sprites. I don't like copy pasting like this, but as I told you, we will change that just a little later. Okay, and same for rigid bodies. Okay, and here I have to change bodies. Okay, so I think that's fine. It's not beautiful, but it should work. Let's try if it's compiling. Yes. And then I want to remove my entity when, as I told you, when something exits the screen, like here. So in order to do that, I'll go, actually it's still in my update manager, and it is in my system screen bounce update. So this is what I want to change here. So this is a horizontal bounce, we'll call it horizontal exit. And I want to change this when only the left part of my box is going to the right, and also here when the right part of my box is going to the left. And so here we can use remove entity and can use body entity ID. And I'm not sure it would work, but let's try. If my idea of swapping things was a good idea. Okay, it's getting out, but it puts everything at the same time, so I think it's not working at all. Okay, one, but why do so much exit this way? I think something is not happening the way I thought it would happen. Okay, so I think this is good. So here I have 11, 11, 11, and here I have 11. This, and so I suppose when I go to my transforms, I should see a swapping between this one and this one. So the entity, let's check, the entity ID should change here. And actually not. So there's no swapping here. Okay, at least it removed it, but it doesn't remove what I want. And then, so I suppose it will do the same. Another one, another ones. And actually at the end, I should also remove the entity. Yeah, I forgot to do this too. I should also remove this entity. So in the end, I should erase it like entities, but erase, remove entities. Can this work? All things out, maybe I should not erase directly my entity. What I should do is actually put it in a list of entities to be erased, and then erase them while the update function, the update loop is finished. Yeah, I think it would be better to do that. It will also avoid some strange bugs. So I will actually create a list, a vector of IDs, I think. Yeah, it will be a vector of U32 of entity IDs. Entities to remove. And I remove them later. Okay, so in my here I will add entities to remove dot push, and I will push my removed entity ID. Okay. Oh, actually, there is a iter swap, std iter swap function. So maybe this is the one I should use. Let's try this. So we remove the values, and maybe we'll try to use iter swap. So I suppose, if I read the documentation, it is a swapping for pointed elements. This is exactly what you have here. What's the problem here? If I use swap, would it work? So let's try this and check first if this works, and then I try to see what is happening here. I don't really understand for now. Okay, so now one exited. If I go to the transforms, so and to the entities too. So here my entity ID is 15, and the last one will actually be 16 too. Oh, this is a problem. What will happen if I swap it with itself? I should check this actually. I should check this. Yeah, I will do something like if entity ID is equal to last entity ID. Well, we don't have to swap. So I suppose I can break this. Oh no, it won't work in a if. I cannot return the complete function because it can be different on other components. Yeah, so what I should do is actually only execute that if it is different. And so I have to do the same for all of them. Yeah, I didn't thought about this case. I found it by or randomness or serendipity, but let's say randomness. Okay, so let's try again. Okay, so here my entity is 14. The last one I suppose will be, let's go F10. The last one would be 18, okay. So it's, if it is different, I will want to take the components of my entity and put the last one here. So let's check if it works. Where's it? No, it is what I want is what is in entities actually. So I will get it here. So yeah, I put my 14, it's fine. And then So I get the component I want to remove, and now what I want to do is swap my components. So if I go to transforms, I should swap the two of them. And it should change the entity ID here. Let's see. It's working. Nice. Okay, fine for this one. And the last one should be removed. Okay. Now let's see what is happening here, because it's quite strange. Okay. So my entity ID is still the same. So I don't want the transform, I want the sprites. So yeah, it should be the same. Yeah, it is. Here it should be the same because for now the order is preserved, and we should have a change in the entity list. Yeah. So it was this one. It is not removed for now. Yeah, it has changed too. And now it should swap the sprites, but I'm not sure it would. Let's see. So I have here, again I have my entity ID and it should swap, but what will happen? Yeah, they don't. But I knew they won't. So now I have to understand why. Okay, so let's stop this. I have to understand why it doesn't want to use iter swap. So maybe there's something in my sprite component, because I have this texture. Maybe the problem is here, because it tries to rebuild it, maybe. But if it tries to rebuild it, it should use this. Yeah, I suppose the problem should be here. But this is just an iterator. Yeah, but maybe in the code of the sprite, yeah, is move as enable. Okay. Yeah, they want this to be moved as enable, and maybe the fact that there is a reference here won't make it move as enable. So should maybe I could build a specific move constructor for this, or move assignation. So let's try this. Yeah, I suppose it is what is happening. So I will build a move assignation. So it should be a reference to the element then the operator equal, and inside it a sprite, our value, sprite. So let's say if I write equal default, would it work? I suppose not. Why is it that? Yeah, okay, I cannot. Now I have to implement it. And no accept, okay. I shall implement it now. I will call it other. Should I move everything? Yeah, I suppose I cannot move this. So what I will do is could I do something like this? I'm not sure it's useful actually, but then TID. Yeah, so I will do something like this for all elements. So the src rect, the dst rect, and the text name. What's the problem here? Okay, I don't need it because it can be copied. So okay, so I just have to actually use the value. So now I move the texture, and for this I think I just have to reload it. Can I do that? It's in the constructor. It's actually text name. What's the problem here? Candidate function move, but method is not marked constant. Yeah, it cannot be constant. Okay, so maybe I should remove this const because it will be difficult to use. What they would make, like writing something like that? Yeah, but I cannot actually. Oh, it's because it's using the equals and try to copy it. Maybe this is a problem, but I think this won't work either. What is my problem here? How could I get this? This should send to me a reference to the texture. It's a const reference to the texture. So it should be fine. What do they want? Okay, it has no meaning. It has no meaning at all. Okay, yeah, I suppose because this is using a copy, they don't want this. Oh, could I? Maybe I could actually no, it's not a constructor, so I cannot. Yeah, the point is it is not a constructor. Okay, so I have to find a way to do this. So maybe the best thing is to just remove the const part. And it should work. And now what's the problem here? Yeah, here I don't like to do this using a const cast. I don't like the idea to change the texture in a sprite, but here because I need to move it, I have to in a way. I'll get on that afterward. I think it should be better with a const texture, but would this work? Actually not. Okay, it should be move assignable, but also move constructible. Okay, so I also have to implement my move constructor then. Is it not because of explicit? No, that's fine. So let's create a move constructor. So the constructor should be sprite value with no excepts. Okay, and so in it I would actually do this. Just here I could move. So, oh, what's happening now? Here I would move, actually I don't need to move this. I can just make each trivially copyable, so let's use this. I would just move this. And yeah, I could maybe use this. Okay. Would it work this time? Fail. The operator. Oh yeah, I forgot to return the value here. Right. Okay, I think this should be good. Okay, now it's good. So in order to use iter swap, I needed to implement the move function of my sprite. Where is it here? Because I suppose iter swap would use the moving parts in order to optimize the swapping. Okay. So I will have to find a way to get back to a const for my texture, but I'll see that later. Now, let's try if it's working. Oh, okay. It's not at all. It's not at all, see? Okay, abort had been called. Let's see where's it. Okay, it's my remove entity. Oh yeah, because now I remove the entity, but it's still in my line of entities and I'm still calling it, even if the components are not there anymore. Actually, the components being not there. Okay, so first let's implement the entity to remove entities function. Remove an entity. So I will call this function clear or clean entities, or maybe clean removed entities in order to be very explicit. Go back to my CS manager, or actually I could just use modern IDE in order to implement this. And so what I have to do here is for actually it's for each entity ID in entities to remove. I just have to erase entities dot entity dot erase, or is it used? Okay, what I should do maybe is use erase if, and here I put a lambda function. Yeah, and I need to say it is a U32. Okay, erase if. Here I have to pass the container, so the container of entities. And I want to erase if. So what is it? Maybe I should pass an entity here. Entity.id equal entity id. Yeah, and I should return this. What's the problem here? So maybe I should not use this way. I should use std erase if. This is the entity I have inside the loop, and it should be equal to that. So let's say it could work. And I want to execute this at the end of update. So here. It's not good. Oh, and also I have to clear, once this is done, I have to clear this list. Okay, so now what is happening? When I load the game, it crashes. Okay. So, I suppose it is because I have added this. I should not have anything here. Oh, actually, it's maybe it's not initialized. Is there a problem with this? Clean and rebuild. Okay, now it's good. Yeah, so I suppose I needed to clean. It was again a problem of header file. So let's continue working. Okay, so now I have another problem. Let's see here. Okay. So now I want to delete the entity 12. So I will go to the end, actually here, and hope everything is working. If I watch my entities, so I want to remove the entity 12. So if I check in my entities now, this is 12, and this one should have 12 everywhere. Okay, this is what is happening. So it is what we want. And we will now remove the entity 12. Actually, when I do that, where do I go then? Yeah, because I remove the entity here, but maybe I should break actually. Because I will try to do some stuff on the entity itself. Well, it should not change a lot. Anyway, then I work on the other entities. It should not change either. Actually, it may, because I have swapped all my components. So when I remove, oh yeah, this would be problematic. I have swapped all my components by removing it. So maybe the remove part should be also done at the end, actually in the function. So I should maybe just add it in entity to remove and not making the swap system now, because I could use another, maybe another component will be updated and do other stuff. So yeah, maybe I should not work this way. I should mark entities to remove, and I should do the removing here. So remove entity will mark it as entity to remove, and clean remove entities should maybe do what I'm doing now. Should do this. And here, for each entity, I should do this. Why do I need this? I actually have it. Oh yeah, because I need the components. Okay, let's try something like that then. Not better. Okay, so now it's getting out. So what does that mean? Again, it's afterwards, so I suppose this was an entity to be removed. So let's see what is happening now when I remove my entities. Okay, so in entity to remove, I have one entity, and the ID of this entity is 7. So this should do all the swapping. And let's check here where we are. Okay, and here I erase my entities, and I should not have the entity 7 anymore. What is happening now? Yeah, I want to go here actually. Okay, these entities, I should not have the entity 7. And it seems to be the case. And so now I have, yeah. And here it is 7. Yeah, because this is now using those components. So for now, it should be good. Actually, should it be like this? Yeah, I've set it at the end. I've swapped. What I've swapped? Yeah, and my component should be at 7, so it should be fine. my entity is no more here. I could clear that. The point is I still have here this number of components. Yeah, actually I should have one less. What is happening? It's not removing. It's not removed. So let's try again. And go here. Actually, if it is the last one, I should not swap, but I should still pop the last element. To remove the component. Okay, so let's see what is happening now. Okay, one is getting out. It is entity number 4. I have only one here. So entity number 4. And now I want to swap. So let's see if the transforms are swapping. Yeah, entity number 4. Okay, rotation position is this. And this should be swapped to the end. So the entity ID will change. Okay, so I have put here this one, and this one is swapped to the end. Oh, actually I have 16 elements, so it's fine. Actually it's working. I thought I had, okay, I thought I had, okay, it's my bad. I thought I have 15 elements and I actually had 16. So it's working and it's popping it back. Okay, so now if I go back here, I should have, okay, 16, 16, 15, 15, 15, 15, still one here, and we will remove it. And okay, fine. So let's continue. And now it's not working anymore. Let's see what is not happening well. So now I update. What is happening when I update it? Vector at. Okay. I seem to have a problem, but I don't see which one. Okay, so now what we will do is, so it's quite long, but I have to understand everything. So I will actually go here at the end, and then I will put a breakpoint in the update part to see where it's crashing. Okay, so okay, so now let's put the breakpoint here. Oh, it's not coming here back again. Okay, so let's try it again. Okay, so now so I'm at the end, and next frame I should start here, or maybe the drawing part is getting out. Let's see. No, it's fine. Okay, so it's here when I come back here. Okay. Okay, so let's go and see what is happening here. We have, what is this size? I should have 15 of them. What is happening now? They were copied. I should not have this number and this number of IDs. What is happening? Okay, so let's restart. Okay. So now if I go there, how much I have? Okay, I have 15, so this is fine. And when I do this, it should remove it. So this is fine. Okay. So for now we're happy. ECS draw. If I go inside, oh yeah, it's getting a unique pointer. But still, and here my number has exploded. So I must have I have done something that I should not. Okay, so first thing I could do is deciding to clean my entities not while it's updating and not while it's drawing, but after drawing. It will be a security that, okay, everything should be drawn. And then I'll send this, okay. Let's see what is happening. So update. So first, let's check my entities. Okay, now I have 15. So maybe there was a problem when I was removing things between update and draw. Okay, fine. We're getting rid of it. And now I have a problem here when I try to get the right transform entities at, oh yeah, okay. So my problem is here is that when I'm using get component, I'm actually using the entity ID, but instead of finding the entity ID here, I'm just taking it from the index. But if an index is removed, I cannot do this anymore. So I have to find a way in order to get my right components, but without this entity ID. So I think I should create a function like get entity with an entity ID that will find the right entity. The point is it will be quite inconvenient when, I mean, it won't be very optimized. Do I use these entities at a lot of places? Okay, so I use it when getting the component and also when getting the removed entity. So it should be fine. Okay, I just have to replace those. Using a get component is anyway always, it is costly. It costs a lot, and it's normal actually, because getting a specific component is an operation that exists in the game object component, that is made to exist in a game object component pattern and not in the ECS. You don't want to do this a lot when you're using an ECS. Yeah, because my ECS is very simple, I need to request those quite often. But yeah, maybe later I will improve my ACS. For now, let's try to work this way. So I need to do this. Actually, what I need to do is to create a find entity function. So let's create it. Clear entities, and so find entity should give me a reference to entity. Find entity with an entity ID. The point is, yeah, no, I could not even sort my entity data, so I just need to do that. What I could do is renaming all entities. When I remove one, I could rename all the entities, but if I have kept somewhere my entity, I don't think it's a good idea either. So yeah, let's use this find entity function and let's create it. So it would be quite easy, I think. We could use std find if on. So what do I need? Entities dot begin, entities dot end, and lambda that for any entity it could be a reference here. I'm not sure. I suppose it could. Return entity dot id equals entity id. And this should be passed here. Okay. And I would return this. So I suppose find if would return. Oh, I cannot. Let's see the result. So what's the problem with raise? So raise is it's because it is an iterator. Okay, so maybe I should just return. Yeah. Okay, it's finding an iterator. So yeah, this should be fine. And so now I could here use find entities. Okay, and here what did I do actually? Okay, so entities, I want to get this entity. Maybe I should not put this. Let's try without it. So at worst it will swap with itself and it should be okay. So my bad. I'm still using entities last entity instead of find entity. This is why. Okay, So let's try this. Let's be optimistic. No, it's not working. Maybe I solved this problem, but maybe there's another one. Okay, what did I have here? Find last. I try to find this. Okay. So maybe I have another place. Update entities with component. So maybe here I should also find the entity. Oh, another problem. Now let's have another one. Oh, it crashes already. What is the problem? I have another one to remove, so now I want to remove entity 15. Oh, I kept having this here. I really have to check where this entity is at. Okay, only one, so it's another fine entity that should be put here. So I have. Actually, what I should look for is entities dot at, so no more, and entities this, so no more. Okay, fine. Okay, no, I thought it was good. So let's debug it and see what is happening. Okay, for now I won't need that. So let's go until it crashes. Ah, what's happening now? Get texture without a name. Because the other has no name. What is happening? So here I have a texture actually. Could I move the other texture instead of using the name? Why don't I have a name here? How could there be no name? So maybe it's when I'm building my elements. Create sprite component with a texture name. They should place the name, so it's not here. Is it in my scene? I give a name everywhere. So how come I don't have a name? We're not far from the end. We're not far from the end. I'm sure we'll get it right. So maybe I have forgotten here a name somewhere. It's good. Here I move the name. And here I also move the other name. Maybe I should just copy it, but I read something about moving strings. What would happen if I just copy it? It's less optimized, but let's see if there is some problem with that. Oh, actually, I need to clean it. It's because it's in a header file. Seems better. So there's a problem when moving the string. I have to do some research about that. It could be long. But now it feels okay. I want to know what happens. Maybe it will crash. Oh, it disappeared too soon, actually. Maybe it would crash when there's nothing more on the screen. Okay, so there's a problem when moving the name. I have to do some research about that. You can do it. Go, little sprite, go. It will make it. I'm sure. Yeah, fine. Okay, I just have a collision problem. And it's not crashing, which is unexpected, actually. So, now my system is working. Having fine entity everywhere is not really something I like, because I have to use the stdefine if. I'm not sure what is the complexity of this function. But I suppose it's quite easy. It just have to go through all the vector and just giving, or it should be quite quick, I suppose. So yeah, I had a problem with my exiting. What was it? Yeah, horizontal exit. If current box is, yeah, this is good. Current box. Oh, it's actually plus. I'm dumb. Yeah, it is plus here. Okay, let's try it again. And I think we would be right. Fine. Nearly. Okay, so we have a system to remove entities. As you've seen, it's not that easy. The video was quite long, sorry about that, but again, I'm trying my best to do it. Okay, it won't exit before a long time because it will bounce again. Actually, this one is not bouncing, strange. But okay, fine. Seems to work. I will just check what are in my entities, like let's put a breakpoint here. Oh, actually, I'm not in debug mode. So I just want to check if everything is happening well. So let's check. I have only 3 of them here. 3, fine. Seems to work well. Okay, so I hope I won't have more problems with this system. Oh, component here. And in the next video, I may try to use templates to have something better for get components, or to have a better function in order to remove components. That's this very repeating stuff, repeating function. So I actually do not need that. It's okay if it's a swap with itself. I suppose it's handled by the standard library, actually. Okay, so I have something that's working. It took some time and some research, but we did it. So see you in the next video. Bye.